before. I was not so aware of the work that I saw this morning when we inaugurated in Tirunelveli station, and it's really something beautiful and extraordinary within Photo Biennale, and that's why we are very happy that we have Bonnie here explaining us this and probably other projects that you do. Thank you. Justin.
So thank you all for being here, and this afternoon we have Bonnie Chiu. Bonnie is the co-founder and CEO of non-profit social enterprise Lensational, which aims to empower women through photography. Since then, her team has expanded to 50 volunteers across 12 countries. Prior to starting Lensational, she worked as a campaigner at Amnesty International in Hong Kong and Equality Now in London, focused on women's rights. Born and raised in Hong Kong, she is now based in London, where she works on Lensational, but also in a social sector consulting firm called the Social Investment Consultancy.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for coming on a Monday afternoon. I know in the UK they have tea time at 3:15. I don't know if maybe it's chai time all the time here, but yeah, thanks so much for coming. Thanks for the introduction, and want to say danke schön to the Goethe-Institut for hosting this amazing event. And I know Goethe has always been very focused on photography. So I saw the Goethe-Institut's logo at the Photographers Gallery in London the other day. So yeah, great job. I just want to begin with this photograph. So I took this photo when I was traveling in Burma or Myanmar. So I think throughout the whole event, we heard a lot of photographers talking about their projects in Myanmar. I went there, well, only to travel, but 2 months before my trip, that was in May 2013, I already created the Facebook page for Lensational, and we got some small funding to carry on. But I had this vision that we could equip women and girls from developing countries with cameras and photography training in places where this tool is not accessible. But I just didn't know whether it's possible or whether it is something that people want to have. Because I didn't want to be a development worker coming from the outside and trying to do something that doesn't fit. I did a few small projects, but it's really after this picture that confirmed my belief. She's 5 years old, and we didn't actually speak, they didn't speak English, but we just gave them a camera and we used body language. And when she saw for the first time her own picture, how she looks like, this is her face. And it's really that curiosity that I think all of us can relate to. That all of us can relate to when we first take a picture, how different we see the world and how different we begin to see ourselves. So this is how we began. This photo kept me going when people tell me, well, you are not a professional photographer, why are you doing something with photography? That's something that damaged my confidence very much, because this notion of a professional photographer. And people also say, you're very young, what do you think you're doing? I don't know. Some people know my age here, but I'm very young, I'm 23, and people, when I started I was 20, people didn't know whether I was really being serious. So there were many challenges in the beginning, but it was this photo that kept me going. And I think all of us here would have one picture that really defined our own personal beliefs. And I hope that all girls and women in the world, no matter their religion or class or caste in India, they should all have this opportunity to a picture, and to many pictures really. Then in August 2013, I went to Pakistan. I used to wear these kind of traditional clothes, but I didn't bring them this time. But again, I was in Pakistan for 2 months. I was volunteering in an NGO. The scale of gender inequality in Pakistan is really unimaginable. I think South Asia as a subcontinent does have its own issues, but in Pakistan, what we're talking about is just girls not being able to go to school or being forced to drop out when they turn 14, 15. So what I did was going into non-formal schools and using photography as a tool for them to feel more confident about themselves, to tell their own narratives, their own stories. And when, again, it's the curiosity that really touched my heart. My friend took this picture for me, actually a German. He was volunteering in Pakistan as well, and he took this picture, and when I saw how curious she was when she held the camera, I didn't realize it when I was teaching, but again, I keep on looking back at this photograph, and it kept me going on. So right now, this is a map of our activities globally. We started in Hong Kong, where I'm from, and then I pursue my further education in London. So I expanded Lensational to London, where there are just more access to funding, more access to global markets in the arts world. And then in terms of our program, we have in Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, most and other Southeast Asian countries, which I'll go into when I talk through our programs. And how we work basically is 3 simple steps. So we start with cameras. We ask for donations from individuals, from corporates, mostly in the developed world, and then we ship these cameras to developing countries where we have our programs. So we conduct our photography training. It's a very rigorous training program of 8 hours, and we cover camera techniques, how to use a camera, but also storytelling, also about emotional expression. So we have a 8-hour standard training manual. We wrote, over the past 2 years, we wrote a manual that's 60-page, because people think photography is really easy, but it's not just clicking a picture. We talk about the theory, we help them discover what a picture can do and what it can help, how it can help themselves develop. And finally, we then sell these pictures. So we have our own online platform, photos.lensational.org, but we also lined up corporate partners. We have a company that's owned by Corbis, which is now owned by Getty Images and the same group anyway. So, but we have a partnership with them where some of the photos will be uploaded to their platform, and we have also other partners to distribute. And at the heart of our photography sales, 50% goes back to the women who have taken the pictures as economic empowerment, and 50% goes back to Lensational as a non-profit to expand our work. I want to share the story of Rubina. So she is a school teacher in Pakistan. Before I taught the school kids, I actually did a workshop with all the teachers. There were 10 teachers. And I remember when I asked the teachers to take a picture of why they decided to become teachers, she took a photo of a former Pakistan leader, Benazir Bhutto. She took a picture and she said, she's my inspiration because she cares for the young people, for the children and for the poor people. And she made me realize that women can also be leaders. And she was very confident when we asked them to present the pictures they have taken. She showed her camera phone confidently to her friends and explained to them why she has taken this picture. So photography is about expression. And when you get to share the story to a group of like-minded individuals, it is empowerment. So after the workshop with the teachers, I then went to the non-formal school where she was teaching. And we did a 2-hour workshop. It was relatively simple. We used disposable cameras, so it's more about composition, more about the themes, not so much about the technical details. And at the end, so we split into 2 groups. There were boys as well, but we encouraged the girls to be the leaders in their group. And for 2 hours, they were posing near the motorbikes. And but this girl, at the end of it, she jumped onto the motorbike to pose. And none of the guys around expected it, because it's such a rare sight to see a young girl having also that confidence in her eyes. I think for me, I didn't imagine that actually photography can help people, especially women and girls, to reimagine the possibilities of the world. And also when this picture then gets disseminated, how it can encourage other people to think differently as well. And it's then reimagining gender stereotypes. So that's another power of photography that we have identified. We then asked our students, so this is a project in Hong Kong where we train domestic helpers from Indonesia and the Philippines. So they come to Hong Kong, a relatively wealthy city, and they work as domestic helpers to earn a living. Most of them are from rural villages with very little education. And they tell us that photography gives them something meaningful to do while doing housework at home. So they have to stay at home, and this is unfortunately what happens to a lot of women around the world, that women spend 2 to 8 times as much as men on domestic responsibilities. So while they stay at home, photography occupies them, and we have examples of students taking pictures of the fire flames, just to experiment with colors, shutter speed, and also with water, running water from the tap, again, experimenting. And also it is a way for them to challenge the world. And this is when, in a lot of advocacy, we often feel as campaigners that we have to say something. We have to get our message out there. We need a slogan next to the picture. But sometimes a picture without any words, it is silence, but it challenges people in a different way. So this is another thing that we realize for them. It's a very comfortable way to challenge the world slowly, step by step.
A question, so you don't need to be scared here. So it's more of a personal opinion. Over the course of this festival and from recent news, there's been a lot of problems thrown around about women, violence against women, and rape and everything. So, well, that's kind of got us all thinking in that way. And today, after seeing your project, it was just like a ray of sunshine, and it's really, really, really bright and everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have in our organization, we have 50 volunteers, and I think we have around 20-30% men. Bhargav is a volunteer. Bhargav? He's busy with his phone because we need to go soon. But Bhargav is our volunteer based out of Bangalore, and without men, we won't be able to do our job. So I think it is about building an inclusive movement, and we work to advance the welfare of women and girls, but without engaging men, we just wouldn't be able to do anything. So very happy that you at least, appreciate our work. Thank you.
I want to add congratulations, of course, but also say that through your work, actually this morning, etc., I got aware of the fact that this photo biennale means in 2 years we're going to do it again. We have to drive it into many different directions, and there are many open fields to work to. Your kind of socio-artistic approach is maybe not so strongly represented this time, but I think it should definitely play a bigger role in our next festival. Thanks very much for making us aware of that.